I look around and I see how ridiculous, what an absurd thing that is. We imagine we're in such a psychotic state, we even imagine we have freedom.
Andromeda Independent Radio. Here we go.
That's Charlie Dore and the title track from the album Where To Now. On 88 megahertz for the last time tonight, this is Andromeda Independent Radio.
Andromeda Independent Radio.
And there's been some interesting developments in the free radio scene locally. We now have 4 alternative radio stations in this area, including Andromeda. They are KFM from South Manchester, Douglas Valley Community Radio from the Wigan area, and also in South Manchester, Manchester Alternative Radio. Here's extracts of the stations, beginning with KFM, which broadcasts on test transmission at the moment on 94.1 megahertz VHF. That's very close to BBC Radio 4.
Hello, you're listening to, well, what are you listening to? You're one of 1 million or so people in the South Manchester area. Have you ever considered what's available on the radio? OK, locally there's BBC or independent radio, shared by 2.5 million people. When you consider Manchester as the second largest city in Britain, don't you think it's strange that there isn't more choice? Take London, for example, only 4 times the size and many alternative radio stations outside the independent or BBC services. For example, Radio Jackie, perhaps frivolously named, nevertheless unlicensed, and broadcasting to southwest London 24 hours a day for the last 6 months, providing a local community service for their listeners.
You may well ask, what's all this got to do with me? Well, you could be just the person we're looking for. We're KFM Radio, and outside London, we're the only serious alternative to ILR and BBC Radio.
That's KFM Radio on 94.1. If you tune along the band on the other side of where the police are, I don't mean the group, but the police and ambulance services, you will find on 102.5 megahertz on Sunday nights, from 7 o'clock onwards, Douglas Valley Community Radio.
This is DVCR on 102.5 megahertz VHF FM.
Summer is with us, or so they say. Certainly the evenings are a lot lighter, and dare I say, occasionally brighter. This is a time of year for fetes and galas and all sorts of activities for groups and organisations around the Wigan area. Douglas Valley Radio would like to hear from secretaries and organisers of groups who would like to be featured on the station. The station is run by volunteers, very much like so many social and recreational groups operating in the area. Each week our local audience is growing, as people find the benefits of being able to communicate their interests to others. It adds a new quality and dimension to the Wigan community life. Why not get in on the act? DVCR at its best is ordinary folk talking to ordinary folk about what's going on and involving them in community activities. The output and response to the station is being continually monitored by the Wigan Community Radio Association. If, as an individual, or on behalf of an organisation, you would like to know more about the concept of community radio, or would like to join the Community Radio Association, then write to the Secretary, Wigan Community Radio Association, 2 Coldbeck Close, Ashton in Makerfield, Wigan, WN48AZ.
Very complicated. Also,
just a little further along the band on 104 MHz Manchester Alternative Radio.
You want to hear AC/DC. This is the title track from the album. For those who are about to rock, we salute you. You're listening to MAR on 104, Britain's #1 illegal pirate radio station.
So there we have 4 alternative radio stations around Manchester. That's Andromeda Independent Radio, us, Manchester Alternative Radio from the South Manchester area, also in South Manchester KFM on 94.1, Douglas Valley Community Radio on 102.5 MHz VHF from the Wigan area, and the frequency for MAR is 104 MHz VHF. Alternative radio on the dial for you.
Andromeda Independent Radio.
Music time.